think still the Outlaws are consistently better than the high limit roster. I still think that. I was going to start the night with saying, when they compare the two as far as like who's got the big names, you always hear them say, when you take Gravel and Macedo and Selzy, and they always kind of leave out Logan Schuchart. And I was thinking, if you threw Logan Schuchart on the high limit tour, I think he's a instant upfront guy every week. Like, right? I mean,
Definitely.
and he's not that in the world, in most people's mind. Well, a lot of people thought he was going to win the championship for the last 3 years. He goes ghost to start the season. He's actually starting the season very good this year because he usually is a mid season to end season strong runner. It's usually the beginning of the year where he kind of has a slump when people are high on him, and then they're like, well, damn, and then he comes on. But this year he's running strong to start the year, and maybe he could be a contender. He went up to second in the point standings tonight because of Macedo's situation. But even a guy like Schuchart, I think he could throw over there, and he's top up front, Selzy,
Right.
I think if you put Sheldon over there, which Sheldon ain't really doing that great, but if you put him in the high limit roster, he don't have to really do that great to run top 5, I don't think. And I think that's where that gap is. You got too many guys who are up there on Brad Sweet's level in the World of Outlaws on a consistent basis. But I think that this sport is so in the dark. We saw that with the stands tonight. Empty as fuck, it looked like to me. Maybe not all the way for you, Sean, but it looked kind of empty, which is another reason why I think my going live all night on Facebook or YouTube could help the tracks and people come to the facility, especially if you broadcast those in the region. People can be like, oh my God, I didn't know that's happening. But regardless, I think that the Knoxville Raceway and Knoxville Nationals bring more eyes than most year racing events. Like, I think tonight was probably one of the largest streaming viewed races, maybe outside of Volusia, of the year, because it was the first high limit outlaw meet, and it was also at Knoxville. So just how all the drivers want to race there and they think they're special, I think the viewing audience of dirt racing and those interested in dirt racing pay attention to what Knoxville does, especially when it's a World of Outlaw event. So I think that even though on a consistent basis, 90% of the schedule, I think that the World of Outlaws would push the high limit guys outside the top 5 90% of the time. If the high limit roster can do damage at big events like Knoxville, or these events that get that type of attention and clout, that it can publicly look like high limits, the superior series, because of their performances at Knoxville in particular against the World of Outlaws.
Correct.
And that's not good. It's not fair. It's not right. But once again, I argued the other week. I said, guys, you think that you can't make a series look better than another based on the skills. And it's like, NASCAR, we know, don't have the skill sets of our dirt racers across the board. But they're projected as the NFL, and we're looked at as flag football by most people. So it's not very hard to convince most people that high limit is superior with the World of Outlaws if you provide small little snippets of examples of superiority. This is what NASCAR does with Kyle Larson, period. That's how they make people think that we're a AAA flag football league, because he's graduated to the pros of them. And then that's why they only show clippets of when he beats us, because it reinstills all of them are just lower level guys. Every time he tries to go play with them, it's for charity. Look at how bad he beats them. When he runs 10th, though, you don't hear about it because it ruins that idea.
Right.
This is marketing, convincing people. Marketing is manipulation. Every time I say this to salesmen, they're like, oh, yeah, it's 100%. Yeah. So we're talking about the marketing of these two series, because marketing is what's going to win this fucking thing. I think the race right now for sprint car superiority, it ain't even on the fucking track. The race for sprint car superiority is not on the track.
It's the players.
It's the players. I think I don't think that's right. I don't think it's what's happening on the track, though. I don't think it's the players. That's my point. The race for sprint car superiority is the one who's going to market themselves to the unknowing public the best, the fastest. That's who's going to win. Because the public, we could look at the population of Des Moines, Iowa, and I guarantee you there's 30,000 people there. There's
For sure.
40 times the amount of people within an hour from the Knoxville sprint car capital of the world that could fill that fucking arena easily for the cheap amount of $40. Oh my God, so expensive. They're paying $30 to park and go to a fucking concert for $250. The regular people, $40, that's cheap. Wow. I only got to spend $300 to take my family to an event. I usually spend $1,000.
I thought the stands tonight were, it wasn't a sellout by any means, but for the weather conditions and stuff,
each race team's $500,000 of an operation.
Right.
You had 63 teams. You had $30 million of race cars at a facility, some of the best drivers, including one of the best drivers in the world ever that y'all agree with, and you can't get 30,000 people out of multiple hundreds to care or to attend. Whoever can win that's what I mean. This is marketing. Whoever can win that, whoever can figure out, how do I make this bigger and actually does it, is going to win. Period. F1 figured out how. Now, I don't think this Dirt Season 2 thing is going to work. That Flo's doing, where it's basically F1 Part 2. I think it's going to help a little bit. But F1 figured out something that nobody else had really done outside the USC. They used a damn Netflix documentary series and took over the youth of America. Like the 18 to 25 F1 fans to NASCAR, it's like 15, 20 million that are F1 fans in that age range, and it's like 100,000 who are NASCAR. So that's the future that's coming. No one cares about NASCAR in this new age that's coming because F1 figured out how to break that code. I think it could do the same style of things with our dirt racing. It is more exciting. It's way better. It's a way better product. Me and Tony Stewart talked about this. He agrees. In a way. But I think that there is a code to that. I don't know how that is. If I was Kyle Larson, I would be begging your sponsor, Logan Paul, to put Jake in a sprint car for just one race. He's already joked and said he wanted to go to NASCAR, and he rethought that. But, hey, put him in a sprint car, bro. You get Jake Paul to a sprint car race, you instantly just, crack that code overnight. Pay him some money. Let him come and do it for fun. That's how you expose yourself to millions of people instantly. That's why I thought Brad and Kyle could maybe crack this code to go somewhere because of Kyle's connections to be able to do that. Maybe getting some actual attention to the sport from that society that's around us, that if it respected it, knew about it, enjoyed it, you would have had a full crowd tonight at Knoxville, no questions asked. No questions asked. It's one of the cheapest entertainment things in the whole entire sports entertainment world.
Yeah.
I know we bitch about it because we're in that older era of people. Without the 35 to 44, your whole entire place would have been empty. Would have been no one there to push the trucks. Would have been no one there, to work the facility. That's the whole sport is extinct if you remove the 30 and up age groups.
So how do you get the younger crowd in?
You got to try some shit. Do some F1 stuff. Get Jake Paul in a sprint car. Do something. You can't tell me they're not there. I'm looking at them. People are there. I'm looking at numbers.
Maybe not get them in a car, but just make an appearance. Maybe
do something.
That would try something.
Try. That's what I'm saying. Like when they ended the year, I said this to Brad. When y'all ended the year at Texas Motor Speedway, why didn't you have one of the Dallas Cowboy football players being like the Grand Marshal or something?
Right.
Why? You're telling me Kyle, with all his fucking pull, can't find a way to get with somebody from the Dallas Cowboys and maybe have a fucking backup wide receiver come out to the track? Or something. Tony Romo, what are you doing? You're retired.
Who gives about Tony Romo?
Well, the fucking world at least knows what it is. More people know about Tony Romo than a fucking sprint car in Knoxville.
Yeah, true.
What are we doing? Nobody's in there yelling at these people. The little cliques get in. Here's what happens. This is the problem with the sport. Tell you right now, I think this is why Tony says I have a pulse on this sport. Because he's seen it at the NASCAR level, I believe. I don't know. He's never told me this. What happens in this sport is the people who end up running it end up hiring people who tell them yes. These are people not by their own fault. They've worked very hard their whole career. They've been told no. They get into a position of power, and now they want to be told fucking yes. It's resentment-based. And then they develop friends with the people who say yes all the time. Now, those friends may not be so nice to them behind their back, for the record. But in this little clique, everybody is a yes man. Some people have some power to speak up. And maybe they're not even just all yes men. Maybe they're just all buddies. At the end of the day, these people who end up running these organizations are a big fucking little clique. They're buddies. They're a buddy group. They're a little group of buddies that tell everybody what to do. A clique, a mafia. You know,
Yep.
Barry Brown with XR in 2021, when he did all that shit at Bristol, I talked to him about doing sprint cars because I just came in there. I lit the place up with all the content that I did. But I was like, what about sprint cars? Let's do sprint cars. He's going to do 50K late miles. He goes, oh, no, that's a mafia. Because of how that sprint car world operates, especially with the Outlaws being on top. I mean, they're barely able to think about doing high-limit racing because they had the pull with Kyle. You know, but prior to that, if you weren't in this clique, I mean, we saw how deep the clique has its tentacles, the octopus's brain to the legs that tentacle down. You know, we saw that, oh, why couldn't high limit race at that track? Oh, well, they're an outlaw track. Oh, why didn't high limit go to the World of Outlaws or go to Wisconsin last year? Oh, that group. You know, so this is what I'm saying. This is that buddy system. And when you get into these buddy systems, and those are the people who are making the decisions, even on a high limit scale, I think that's where shit I'm talking about. Nobody's jumping anyone's ass. Everybody's getting their paycheck. Everyone's living a good life, and they don't want to speak up to nobody because they know there isn't too many other jobs out there that can pay them like they're getting paid right now. So they're saying yes to the master, so they keep getting their food and shelter every day.
Right.
Ain't nobody in these positions that are making a good living in the dirt track racing world about to threaten that shit by telling the truth to somebody.
It's who can flex the most.
Yeah. If you're somebody in any of these positions besides Kyle and Brad, and maybe even outside of Kyle, if you're in any of these positions and you try to tell Kyle Larson what's wrong, what do you think's gonna happen?
He ain't gonna care.
How low? You sure? You gonna tell Kyle and Brad what's wrong with your series and how you're doing it and what you should do? You think that your job security is fine? That's what you think?
Well,
I think they're going to find somebody else who tells them what they want to hear, because that's what people in those positions like.
Right.
This is a fun thing. It's a hobby, man. We're just trying what we can. So that's what I think. I think these buddy systems and these cliques develop a yes man system, and there could be things that are different, but they all avoid them. And I'll tell you this, I'm saying this because I know a bunch of them that are up in there that don't agree with what they tell the people above them. And that's not just high limit. That could be, I'm just saying. Never mind, I talk too much. We got the devil's lettuce in us now. That fork of tongue's coming out, Sean. I'm about to get in trouble tonight. And then I get this text. Watch what you say. You're on the TV at Dingus. I wonder if they're lying, bro. I better not be on no TV at Dingus. Am I really getting played through the speakers at Dingus? That would be hilarious. They need to hear the truth. Fuck them. Fuck you, Dingus.